That's where you need shame. However, we're not talking about a constructive shame to help that guy pull up his pants and maybe get a job and not live a life of pain and misery and poverty for the rest of his days. The shame we have here from society and, as you mentioned, women towards men is an erroneous shame. It's a shame of get back on the plantation. It really is that. They basically, women and corporations want to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted new girl boss and we don't need no man and we're going to have a welfare state. And then we're like, okay, well, if you don't need us, we're going to go away or work less. We're not going to get married as much. And then they get all pissed. Why aren't you men paying for our dates? Men are not economically available. Men are horrible like that. Men are getting overweight. Why are you men work? Oh my God, the labor force participation of men is going down and the number of hours they work, which they don't cite either, it's going down too. Men are just losers. Why? It's like, no, you're not shaming us because we're losers. You're shaming us because we're leaving our old roles, which was to support society in the past. You said you didn't need our support. You tax the fuck out of us if we do try to work hard. You, for lack of a better word, hate us and blame us for your problems. Or certainly make it known you don't like us all that much. Why the fuck would we waste bits of our finite, precious life investing in you? They don't want to give up the production. That's what it is. They may not think it. They don't think that much. They really do believe you're robots. I really think the solipsism is that high. How dare you men not work? Why aren't the slaves slaving away anymore? And when shame comes from that to make you a slave, to go back to a role that is not only outdated, an outdated traditional role, but one that means, well, I got to work basically 2 jobs. So I got to pay the taxes for the new independent, feminist, girl boss, socialist environment we got today. But then you want me to be Ward fucking Cleaver and work and buy you a house and pay for your fucking shit? No, they don't realize you're human. They don't realize that you have a finite life. They don't realize that you have taste and preferences and requirements of society. They don't realize there's another person. This is not, in their minds, this is not 2 people sitting at a business table negotiating a contract where there's another entity who has requirements, taste, and preferences. They are on an assembly line and you're one of them robot arms that puts the door on the car on the assembly line. Like, why isn't the robot arm putting the door on the car on the assembly line? They do not think you're serious. I'm not even exaggerating, because otherwise they'd be more proud. Well, wait, hang on. Men have feelings too. Men have requirements. Men have needs. At least back in the day, they admitted that. Right? Is there any? I'm not looking for sympathy, but is there any logical acknowledgement you are a sentient entity, a separate human being that has your own tastes and preferences? They don't. They're just pissed. You boys aren't buying current girl boss, Shaniqua in a wheelchair, lesbian, Superman, race swap video game. Why don't you buy woke, degenerate video game? And then they get pissed at Manbot and the robot arm that is not putting on the door anymore. How? Oh, you are a bigoted, sexist Manbot robot. Why don't you eat the slop, stupid fucking non-thinking entity? So when you get that shame, they are not considering you and your requirements and your desires and your preferences. And where I think you and I disagree, you are worried about men. Well, let me go to your questions here. Make sure I read. Are they aware they could probably create? No. Should men intervene? We can't. Ask Daniel Penny. What should we as a men for society do where our younger brothers have no fear of isolation, jail, and shame? We, as perhaps older men, you're worried about younger men. I think all men, regardless of age, we should be doing what we're doing right now. And that is hang on, look at my notes. God damn it. I hate this thing. All that's happened is we've realized that society is wrong, right? Beforehand, 30 years ago, the only common variable is you, right? Boomer bosses. Oh, you just didn't pull yourself up with the bootstraps hard enough. No, I think one of the largest epiphanies philosophical advancements made in the past 20 years, 25 even, is that we've started to realize that there are instances where the individual is right and society is wrong. And men are starting to realize, no, society is wrong. American Psychological Association, Gillette, which is Procter and Gamble, women's studies, corporations, the Democrat Party, women, feminists. You're wrong. We're not asking that we are bowed down in worship, but you have to factor in the fact that men are human beings and they're not going to be what you want to fit your fucking psychopathic, feminist, socialist, Nazi idea of a man. Like the hilarity, you expect a man to bust his ass off, pay for everything, be sensitive and a pussy like fucking David Hogue, but then this masculine, what's his name, Gray, and to willingly vote to enslave themselves to raise randos that you care about because you got a virtue signal. That's slavery. That is absolute slavery. We haven't even talked about men wanting to have sex, which, of course, women are appalled by the fact, generally, and or insulted at least. You just want one thing. Well, we want more than one thing, but that's the most important thing. They're pissed off about it, pissed off about male nature. And so there's a war, and you men have oppressed us, and you make more money than that, and we're going to change the rules. And they can do that through democracy and voting and all their simp votes, and all you men are like, oh yes, madam, whatever you want. You're a Minnesota man. But at the end of the day, men are realizing society is wrong. And what they're trying to get us to do is also wrong. It is not, we have a right to, earn food, clothing, shelter, maybe find a nice girl, maybe not because it requires another person. But we don't owe you our labor. We don't. You can shame us for not liking fat chicks. No, you're wrong. Fat chicks are gross. Right? We don't have to explain that about men. Fat men are gross. No, I'm not going to fuck an ugly cow. No, that's not a woman. That's a guy who cut his junk off. No, that's not a woman. That's a scumbag who won all the swimming records at Penn State. You're wrong. And no, I don't have to go to college. And no, bachelor's is not required and master's preferred. And no, I don't have to attend DEI. And no, I don't have to tolerate your corporal boomer psychopathic bullshit. No, that person's not going to pay back their loans. No, you shouldn't repackage those loans into asset-backed securities and sell them to naive pension fund managers. No, I'm not wrong. There are 4 lights. And so once men have realized that society is wrong, and a close second that they do not have men's interests at all. They do not consider men's interests. And I don't think they actively hate men either. Well, some feminists do. But men are realizing that society is wrong, and therefore you cannot interact with society. And then once men realize society is wrong, they realize that it doesn't matter what society says. Surprise, society is saying the things that's going to benefit society. Corporations, governments, Democrat Party, teachers, women, whatever else, right? That's what society is going to say. But we look at it and say, well, that doesn't benefit us. So it's not. I don't even think men are getting pissed. I think men are pissed to a certain extent. Men are just realizing that when someone is wrong and they are not offering us what we want in life, right? I'm trying to paint it as not even malicious, right? Let's say some friends want to. What do I hate doing? I don't like. What would I not like to do? Okay. Let's say I have some people who are friendly towards me and they say, we want to go to brunch at Sunday at 11. And I do not want to go to brunch, right? Now, normally I would say, I don't want to go to brunch because it doesn't benefit me. There's a line. The food ain't that great. It's a pain in the ass. I don't like crowds. Most people say, we get it. We understand. Society is, why don't you like brunch? There's something wrong with, get back to going to brunch. Right? You don't get the brunch treatment where your friend's like, oh, you don't want to go? Oh, okay, well, we'll let you know when we're done. You get this shame because they really, really want you to go to brunch. But that's because they're not considering you at all. They're not considering what you want, and they're going to force you to go to brunch. By God, by golly. And so I don't think men are like, oh, you're our enemy, although you certainly kind of are in a way. Kind of like the Borg mindlessly attacks you, but you're not offering. One, we know you're wrong, right? Two, you're not offering anything that we want is going to benefit us. And if that's the case, then we don't really care anymore what you think, right? Society has demonstrated it very clearly. You do not care about men being humans with their own tastes and preferences. You only care about men in terms of the capacity and role in which they could serve society, which I understand if men are going to participate in society, they got to benefit you too. But when you're not going to consider what men want, there's no compensation, there's no ROI, whether that's sex, stable marriages, children, low taxes, no criticism, like let me smoke my pot or look at my Nebraska or whatever. I don't know. Once we realize that you don't care about providing some kind of rate of return, you don't hang out with these people anymore. You have nothing to do with them. So I don't think there's this revenge that men are going to want to get on society, especially now that we have the internet. People like Thinking Ape, me, and all these other people were the truth about society and what they think of men. They're not lied to anymore. They are more quickly diagnosing that society is wrong. Society doesn't care what men want. Society has an ulterior motive and will not factor your goals and desires in. And so now it becomes like, well, I'm just not going to deal with that shit. There's not even an anger or hatred. Like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Right? Like young men today, like, I'm not going to college. I'll show you, I'll not go to college. No, college ain't worth it. That's not worth my rate of that's not worth the rate of return. Asking girls out. Why would I ask that girl out? I've asked out several girls before, both online and in person. 90% of the time I get shot down. Well, online it's more, and in person it's less, but it didn't result in the date. And the one date I had, it wasn't fun. Like, she talks about SA, right, Pringles? It's your coffee date. Fuck. Obviously doesn't care, right? Let's use that as an example, Pringles, right? Because it makes my entire point, right? Let's say I'm going out with a girl, right? I don't know anything about her. I'm not going to be your stereotype libertarian and say, what do you think about central banking, right? I'm not going to be like, what do you think of Donald Trump or crypto? I acknowledge that's another human being, even though she might be a leftist. I acknowledge that's another human being who has tastes and preferences and minds and emotions. She would probably like to talk about herself, which is my default policy when it comes to conversation. So what about this? What about that? And then I look for things that are interesting, and then I follow up, and then I make funny little jokes. I walk dogs. Or do you walk the dogs, or did the dogs walk you? Oh, they kind of walk me at times. Oh, I bet it's the bigger dog, right? I don't say, let me tell you about the evils of central banking. Because I'm not a psychopath. I realize there's another human being there. That girl did not do that with you. She wanted to talk about SA, huh? That was on the first date. So let me ask you something, Pringles. Do you think she gave a shit? Do you think she thought that you were a human being? No. And so I think what's happening, this is actually a good development. Once you realize a party, whether it's an entire society or a girl on a coffee date, does not acknowledge you're a human being, does not acknowledge that you have tastes and preferences. I'm not saying bows down and delivers on everything, but tries to make it that your time spent on them has a rate of return and is enjoyable, and meaning you're living life and not wasting it. They're not wasting your time. Until society does that, there's no reason for men to give a shit what society wants. The fact society is wrong means you could tell them to fuck off. Fat chicks are beautiful. Get the fuck out of here. No. There are 18. No, there's not. No, there's not. You should contribute more to society and give back to the community. No, I shouldn't. Follow your heart. Money will follow. Fuck off. And once you realize society is wrong and they don't care about you, they don't even have to do anything to you. You just say, yeah, not for me. And now men are walking away and they're doing their own thing. And I think that's where there is this renaissance sort of happening. And it's not going to be this big, beautiful, productive thing. But I think, well, I don't think it's already happening. Men are working less. Men aren't going to college. Men are focusing more on themselves in whatever variety or capacity that might be. Maybe are there greater works of art? Sure. Men doing their entrepreneurship? Sure. But I think the renaissance is that men are just not as tortured or taxed or confused as they used to be. Right? Coach Greg Adams had to go through a lot of shit, man. He's my age. His modern day counterpart, imagine a young, to be Coach Greg Adams, 24-year-old kid, young man. He doesn't have to go get married and get divorced. He's not confused. If anything, the renaissance is that men realize, no, we're human. No, we have the right to like what we like. There is no shame in liking redheads with big tits. There is no shame in demanding sex. I mean, we may not get it, but if we're going to interact with you, it's all right. No, there's nothing wrong with us because of the way we were born. Not having that confusion and shame, or what did I do? Oh no, I didn't make sense. Once you realize society has become a self-serving cult that is going to use you like a battery, you leave, you guys are immune to it. Think about that. You cannot be shamed anymore into second guessing yourselves in your own best interests. And like I said, I don't think we're all going to become Michelangelo and paint the Sistine Chapel, but we sure the fuck are going to live our lives, whatever that might be. For a lot of people, it's going to be chilling out, not doing much of anything, enjoying a nice, quiet, peaceful, leisurely life. For me, I'm going to be hopping on a motorcycle, go ride through some mountains. For some other buddies of mine, it's hiking. For some people, it's cooking or fishing. Whatever it is, in a very real sense, men's chains have been broken by the internet because we've pointed out, it's not that society doesn't care about you. Society doesn't even know you exist. And it's perfectly all right to tell society to fuck off because it is not an acceptable proposition. You are finite. You will die. You know what that means? You have every fucking right to demand a rate of return on your time, whether it's going to college, getting a degree, going into the office, working harder than the other person, or working out at the gym. And if you're going to have a relationship that, yes, well, oh my God, by golly, here comes well-endowed Molly. Yes, if you're going to be in a relationship with a girl, you have every right to be sexually satisfied. And you know what? You know what's really great? You want to talk some Zen level shit? If we don't get what we want out of society, we don't freak out and get pissed off. We just say, cool, on my way, man, out. And so I think I'm less worried. I think this is a good development. Men are not confused. Men aren't going to get angry anymore, or less angry than they used to. There's going to be less crime. I would love to, I don't know how we'd measure this. Always men would get in trouble when they were younger. Why? Fighting over a girl. I bet you that's gone down, man. I bet you the amount of fights between men or crimes or whatever committed by, like, really, what was it, Troy? Helen of Troy, right? Could you imagine? There's this really cute girl overseas. Let's round up all the men and go invade it. Nah. Nah. I don't care how pretty she is, man. I'm playing Expedition 33 right now. So I think what has happened is the internet has liberated men and taken the mask off. You're like, yeah, look, this society don't give a shit about you. They don't, it's not, again, not malicious. They just aren't aware you're alive or you're here. They're pissed because you're not doing the thing that you used to do when society's slowly crumbling and falling apart. But they're wrong. And right, a girl nowadays, you must be gay or small dick or who hurt you. And guys just like, really? Back in the day, that might have hurt. 1988, that might have hurt. Or you might try to, I don't know, I'm not gay. You're like, yep, yeah, sure am. Totes my goats with the small dick and the gays I am. You're right. Enjoy your fucking debt, sweetheart. And I'm sure you're never going to get married and you never be happy. You don't even say that. Right? You just, well, that's what you did, right, Pringles? You just told the girl, yeah, I'm not interested in you. Then all of a sudden society gets pissed off that the robot arm did. The robot arm talked back. How dare you talk back to the princess? That's where the danger is. That's where the real fascism comes in. Well, Pringles, you're black. What happens when you leave the black community? What if you're the crab that dare gets out of the bucket and go makes yourself right? How dare you improve your life? And that has nothing to do male female. That's just people in general. Yeah. The internet has liberated men, and this is a good thing. I know it's not finances. I know it's not what you wanted. It doesn't pay the rent, but man, you guys are not going to waste the time like my generation did. You guys, and the other thing, you are not going to be confused, and you're going to be less angry. And I'm not going to say you're going to be happy, but you're going to have, Coach Greg, peace and contentment. Peace. It's nice. It's very nice. And it comes in with a built-in show. Watching society just fall apart. Like, oh, geez. So, yes, what can you do? Like I said, finish this off with a practical thing. Hunker down. Make sure you got your shit together. Make sure you got good skills. I got a book linked below called Zero World Problems. It basically get your whole fucking house in order so that, like I don't really worry about. Part of having high standard living is good sleep. You know what you need for good sleep? You're not worried about shit. But I'm prepared for a collapse. I'm a minimalist for one thing. I got all my guns. I got enough ammo. I got a water supply. Realize I don't control it. That's what you want. Get into prepping. Get a good skills like carpentry so you can fix things. Build your own house. That kind of stuff. Maybe get some investments overseas. I'm not saying you got to prepare for war, but invest some silver, hedge against inflation, make it so you don't need society. Make it so that society can't. So we need you to. No, fuck you. Well, if you don't, we're going to hurt you. Well, with what army? Because there ain't no army no more. And me and my buddies here on this little valley, we're pretty well defended. So go fuck off. It'd be pretty bad if that happens. But right now, dude, just watch society. This is the greatest thing. I mean, really, the book Enjoy the Decline, but I could write a whole new book about watching society fail and become miserable without men. And either because of true ignorance or they got too much pride to admit they were wrong. To try and figure out what everything. Isn't that kind of like every gal under 50 now, like they can't figure out why they're so miserable and they're on their antidepressants? You're missing some dick. There, I solved the problem, everyone. Oh, thank you. It's hilarious. It's entertaining. Like, oh, geez, you can't find. I don't know what the solution could possibly be. I have no idea. Maybe you need a PhD. I know you got a math. If you thought about getting a PhD, I know you got $100,000 handbag, but maybe if you got the Louis Vuitton $150,000 handbag, I think that would be it. Maybe there's just not enough immigrants in your neighborhood. Well, I don't know what it could possibly be. Right? Watch all these sad simps like Democrat men. Oh, please, my lady, touch me now. Watch these corpos try and make shit products and lose billions of dollars. Watching these corpos, we're going to outsource everything overseas. Yeah, let me know how your quality control goes. Watching everybody not buy. Oh, no. Did you hear Prime Days? What was it? They're down 41%. Oh, no. We don't buy cheaply manufactured Chinese shit. Oh, no. Inflation went up. Well, my Bitcoin kept up, and so did my precious metals. That sucks to be you. Oh, you mean your master's in political science did not increase with inflation? It has not kept up with inflation? Oh, that's too bad. I don't know. Yeah, it is. It is Trump's tariffs. Yeah, sure is. Is that what's keeping the wage gap? It's the Trump's tariff this week. And that's where I think you can just enjoy it. And you don't have to shit. Here's the other thing. We don't have to make any efforts to try. Like, you really ought to. No, it's not our problem, man. It's all of them problem. It's all of them problem. Yeah, it would have been nicer. Yeah, it would have been great if girls got thin and we all had sex and we had a family. And then you shut the fuck up and didn't vote for other people that have our money so you could feel good about raising complete random families you don't know. I mean, I don't know. We'd have another car. We could have, but you know what? This is the only movie in town. It's the only movie showing. It's calling watching society collapse and be fucking confused as hell because they got rid of their men. And we'll wait. You can let us know. Wouldn't it be fun? Yeah, it would have to require an apology. And it'd have to come from the Democrats. We're like, yeah, we let some crazy people take over, and we used to be the party of labor. We're, blue collar, hardworking men, and we're going to purge the nepo babies and the autists out. You would really, society will have to apologize to men, but you're going to have to put action for it. You have to lower your taxes. You're going to have to kick out all the immigrants and let us men keep our own jobs in our own country. Ladies would have to get. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. But by God, they will die trying to make their girl boss feminist socialist utopia work. And it's going to be hilarious. Frankly, watching all these people ruin and waste their lives, becoming madder and madder as they get closer and closer to death, because what they thought in their minds was going to work according to college academics didn't. And at least you guys, and any gals that were smart enough, at least we like, oh yeah, what did you do? Well, I kind of wanted kids and all that, but I realized that wasn't going to happen because I'm a fucking empiricist. So I went fishing in Montana. I went kayaking in the Green River. I went and traveled to this place. So I became a really good chef. That's not what I wanted, but at the end of my life, I have no regrets. Society, here's the thing. Society, I know you're too prideful. I know you're too prideful to admit you need us. That's fine. It's fine. Less people for us to have to work for. I mean, if you want to go get my book, A World Without Men, and you'll see who's contributing to the economy and how little. Dude, a commune of take 10 men. What couldn't we do? I'm not saying we're putting rockets up into orbit, but if we had industrious, real men, right, who had skills, not Democrats, real men, yeah, we'd have enough housing and water, probably some kind of sewer system. Shit, we might even get electricity going. Society, you without us? Dude, you guys, after $35 trillion, can't get poor people out of poverty after 60 years. You guys can't do anything. And that's a you problem. So have fun, society. And you know what, society? It's hilarious and entertaining. And it is. It actually has reached a comical stage. Like someone said, you men need a, and yeah. Like some Karen lecturing you. Like it's hilarious now. You need to go to college. You men aren't working enough. And I like, oh. Oh, fuck, what was her name? Tommy Lauren, where she's bitching about normally women ain't funny, right? Amy Schumer's not very few funny comedians, but Tommy, that was fucking hilarious. That shit's fucking hilarious, man. And look at her. She was actually pissed. She was legit. She's already married. She's still pissed. I don't know. Have you tried shutting the fuck up, lady? Me. Link below.